All right, guys. The other thing I also wanted to go over was how to associate your tags and addresses with your inputs and your outputs. There's a number of different ways that we've shown how to do this. I want to make sure that I've covered each of the different ways, and then you use the way that you feel comfortable going forward. So we have our and the OR circuit right here in our TAA portal. So the first way that we can provide an address for each of these guys is to double left click on the instruction, and then you're simply just going to type in your percent input, and for this guy I want it to be input 0.1. You can see that I don't have a capital here. It doesn't really matter. Once I click over to the side, then it will become a capital. Beautiful. So remember that the percent tells us that it's a global variable. The I tells us it's an input. The 0 is like the first word, and then the 1 would be the second bit of that word there, because everything starts at 0. Okay, so for this guy, we have created the address. That's the main thing that we need to do in order to tell the PLC where to keep that information. And then for this guy, I want to rename it. So I'm going to, what is this, right click on this guy, go down to rename tag, and then I can rename it input number 1 and hit change, and we'll see the tag number 1 changes instantly to input number 1 as soon as I hit change. Sweet. Excellent. So there's one way that we can provide our addresses. The next way is that we can double click on the device configuration. So just as a review, we double clicked on here, we put in the address, and then we right clicked on this to rename the tag. That was our first way to do it. The other way we can do it is we can double click on device configuration, and that brings up the picture of our PLC. And we're going to float this guy. So we're going to come over here and we're going to maximize, no, float, yes. So I want a float of the PLC. Now it's pretty small, so I'm going to zoom in to 400%. So again, we can see the actual tags on the PLC. For some reason, it's super frustrating, but it moves it over to the side there. Okay, and then let's see if we can make this just a little bit smaller here. Sweet. Okay, so now we have our PLC, and now we can move it around anywhere on the screen there. Okay, it says orient the two screens so you can view the OB1 and the image of your PLC. Okay, so let me just minimize, let's just move this over a touch so we have more space. Beautiful. And let's move over the project tree. And now all I need to do is I can just drag and drop instructions over. So see this guy right here, percent input 0.2. That's the next one I want to make use of. So I'm going to hold down the left mouse button. I'm going to drag it over until I see green. Once I see green, I can let it go. And now that tag comes right in here. Okay, now I want to rename that one. Right here we can see input number 1, but input number 2 is not in, so I need to rename that. So I'm right clicking on this again, renaming the tag, and I want to rename this guy input number 2. And as soon as I hit change, then this will change instantly to input number 2. And over here on the device configuration, we'll see this change to input number 2 as well. So we'll hit change. Beautiful. Now we can see input 1, input 2, and over here we can see input 1 and input 2. Excellent. We can also do this for our outputs as well. So say I want to grab this output here. I can grab this, drag it over to my assignment here. Remember that the name for the output is also, in Siemens, they call it an assignment. Okay, then I want to rename this guy, so I'm going to right click on this guy, rename this guy, and I'm just going to say it's output 0. When I hit change, that output 0 will change here and here instantly. Beautiful. Okay, so there's two ways that we can address each of our different instructions here. Okay, let's minimize this guy for now. That one's cool. I like how you can drag and drop that onto the screen here just by floating that. Remember, we hit the float in order for to have this so we can move it around on the screen. Okay, let's minimize this guy, and let's bring up the third way that we can do this. Okay, we've done this. Okay, beautiful. Option number 3 is that we bring in show all tags. Let me just move this over so we have a little bit more room here. So I need the project tree open, and I'm going down to show all tags. So where's that? There's main OB1, right? Main OB1, and just below that it says PLC tags, show all tags. PLC tags, beauty. Remember, this is a single click to open up this drop down menu. And we're going to show all tags. So I'm going to double click on this guy. Oh, cool. And that brings up our list of tags that we've already created. Input 1, input 2, and output 0. Beautiful. Okay, so but how do we have those guys and the main OB1 on the same screen? Here, split editor space vertically. So up here, it looks like there's go online, and then these two are right here. So that's go online. Okay, and then I have, what are these guys? Split editor space horizontally and split editor space vertically. Okay, I want to split this this screen vertically, so I'm going to click on this guy. Oh, very cool. Now I have the ability to have my tag table and my OB1. Let's close the project tree. Beautiful. Orient the two windows so that you can see both the input tags and the OB1, and drag and drop the appropriate tags from the PLC windows to your OB1 PLC program. Okay, so let's do that. Let's move this over just a touch to have some more room. Let's make this smaller. Okay, and then all I want to do is I'm just going to grab this. So I'm holding down the left mouse button for input number 1. I'm going to drag it over, and then once I see green, I'll let her go. Hey, cool. Then it brings up input number 1. Okay, I want this one to be input number 2. Okay, if this doesn't work just by grabbing the name here, you may have to grab this right here, this purple tag, and drag it over until you see green. There's my input number 2, and the output 0. Again, by grabbing the name, sometimes it doesn't work, so grab this guy right here, and when you see green, then that output 0 will come in. Beautiful. Last thing I wanted to show you was that anything that you change on this tag table will instantly change over here as well, right? So, so for this guy, if I wanted to say this was my contactor or something like that, right? Then once I hit enter, then you should see that both of these Q0.0s change instantly to that name there. Okay, if I wanted to bring it back there, then I would just say output 0. And again, as soon as I change something in the tag table, then every one of the instructions that have that address are going to change to that name. So I click over here, and instantly each of these guys change to output 0. Sweet. So we had 3 different ways to change our tags. Double click on it, put in your address, and then right click on it and rename the tag. And then you'll be able to rename it to whatever you want to. Okay, the other way we did was we brought up the device configuration, we floated it, and then we literally just grabbed one of these guys, dragged and dropped it onto the screen, and then we could provide the address and the name to that particular instruction. And then the third way that we did this was that we split the screen vertically. Sorry, I just opened that up and lost it. Okay, so again, we had this screen right here. We didn't have the PLC tags, so we had our standard OB1. If we split the screen vertically, that provides us with our tag table there, and then we can just orient them so that we have enough room, and literally just grab one of these guys and drag and drop it onto the screen. Once you see green, then you can drop it in, and that's another way that you can provide the instruction with both a name and a tag. All right, guys. I think that's pretty cool for now. Let's finally move on to the 3-wire. Looks like I'm just going to discuss some discrete PLC inputs, and then we'll get into how to create the 3-wire control.